All right. Shabbat Shalom. Everybody, Shabbat Shalom. How's everybody doing? Thank you for being on. Sorry, we're having issues getting on, but we look like we're up and going. Thank you guys for being on with us today. We appreciate you. May the words of our mouths and the meditation of our hearts be acceptable in Yahweh's sight. He is our strength and our Redeemer. And it's in His name, which is His authority, to pray, praise, proclaim, project, and protect today's message. Aman. Welcome to everybody. How's everybody doing on the Shabbat? I believe January 7th. We're thankful and grateful to have you guys on with us today. And we're excited to be able to come with a word and a message for you all. We thank you guys who are watching or listening to this on the podcast, those who will watch this later on Patreon, and things that will be uploaded later on onto YouTube. And we're thankful and grateful for everybody being on. Thank you again. This is today, and it's my pleasure to, for today and for the rest of this month, for these Saturdays, for these Shabbats, to be on with the Honorable Maya, as we always say, who lives a life that's able to be honored. You know that you can check her out on TikTok, YouTube, her website, and Pinterest at Bloom and Flourish, not A&D, the letter N, Bloom and Flourish. She's a healer, herbalist, chemist, and biologist by degree. And we're excited and thankful and grateful for everything that she does for the community. And we are over servants of Christ, where we are always changing lives one mind at a time by being a voice to the voiceless and speaking the unspoken. And we're excited to be before you guys again. So to everybody who's on, thank you so much for being on. And thank you for being on with us today, babe. How you doing?
Thank you, babe. It's my pleasure. And thank you, as always, for including me in these discussions and giving me a voice here at Servants of Christ, a very prominent voice. So thank you. And thank you, everyone, for listening. Thank you for being here. Shabbat Shalom, fam. As always, just very happy to see you. Um, so, yes.
Amen. Yeah. So thank you again, everybody. I know we a couple minutes late getting stuff together, but thank you for coming in, and we are excited. Shabbat Shalom to everybody as you're coming in. But Allah Shalom Yahweh, may the blessings be upon thee in the name of Yahweh. And I'm excited about today's topic. We're talking about something that is usually focusing more medically than anything else, or more natural, even natural medicine more than anything else, as my wife is an expert in that field. However, we'd like to bring it to you in a different, well, not necessarily different, but, to add some things upon it to maybe help some people to think differently regarding this term. So today we're going to talk about something called referred pain. And we want to talk about referred pain. And actually, if you don't mind, babe, do you mind telling people what a way to think about referred pain in the medical sense?
So, referred pain refers to pain that starts in an organ. So it starts in an organ, but you feel it somewhere else within your body. So within the organs, within your autonomic organs, like your kidneys, your heart, your liver, you're not going to feel pain directly there. But if you are having an issue with, say, your kidneys, you may feel that pain in your testicles. Or if you're having a problem with your heart, you may feel that pain in your left arm, right? So the pain is starting in the heart, but then you feel it in your arm. That makes sense.
Amen. Yeah. So it's a pain that so referred pain is a pain that goes basically it's started in one place, and or it's really, the problem might be one place, but the symptom is actually showing up in another area of life. And so and it's very important that we talk about this type of stuff, not just even physically, but also some of us, and we know that really the physical pain, some people even call it traveling pain. So the physical pain that we're seeing a lot of times is a symptom of something that's going somewhere else. And I'm sorry, you're saying, so like when a woman experiences her monthly, she cramps in her stomach and backaches, or headaches or different things, and most definitely. So
to Alsa's point, the traveling pain could be kidney pain, especially with the ureters that can appear anywhere in between the loin to the groin. So, it may start in your kidneys, but you feel it in the groin area, or it travels as, say, like a kidney stone is moving. You may feel it somewhere that's, radiating anywhere from that pain down.
Amen. Yeah. So, so it's very important that we, um, learn about this type of thought process, because we know also what happens in the physical is as a manifestation of what happens in the spiritual. And so if we're dealing with this stuff in Havak, or in the spirit, then we're definitely dealing with some stuff that's gonna pop up, as far as like we have things in our life where we might be having issues from childhood, and they're showing up, in our adult life, or we might have an issue in our or even going from the spiritual to the physical. I'm dealing with not being able to let go of something, and it turns out to be something that they might try to claim as cancer over your life or something, or I might be dealing with stress, and it turns out that people start having heart issues or different things like that. And so this is a topic we want to start off, especially in this year where we're trying to look beyond what we see. A lot of times we look at the symptom, and we figure that that's the issue or the pain, but no, that inflammation, that inflammation, it might not be just due to the fact that your wrist hurts. That could be because you had too much sugar, or that could be this or that or whatever. I know that's not necessarily referred pain, but in that sense, we're kind of talking about the same thing.
Yeah, exactly.
So I know you had some stuff that you wanted to make sure that you, as far as research and things like that. So I guess did you want to bring those things up right now, or you?
Well, I guess to be more specific, we're talking about referred pain. Um, if you're like having like a pain in the neck or the shoulders, it could be coming from your stomach. It could be coming from your heart. It could be coming from any um of the organs under your diaphragm. So like your diaphragm sits above your liver, it sits above your stomach, sits above your pancreas. So you may experience that pain within your shoulder if you experience like extreme tension in your shoulder or back, and you're having a hard time moving. It may not be that you actually have quote unquote back pain, but it may be a pain that's coming from one of those internal organs, and helping that internal organ, supporting it either with like massage or herbal remedies or even supplements, um, could be helpful for you if you're having those types of problems.
Yeah. Yeah. So so once again, like, knowing how to identify a pain, knowing how to identify a pain, and even like in the sense of psychological or psychiatric even evaluation, like how do you identify pain? A lot of people don't identify pain um, correctly, or they identify pain but they don't identify where it starts. What is that thing that you could be identifying as, really, even though it's pain and it's a reminder, or something to help to recall what's going on in your body? Your body saying, hey, like, something's not right, but something in your life too. What is that pain that's altering, your mindset or your thought process? What's that pain that says, like, I've been crying and sobbing and weeping, but then a lot of people say, but when I talk to people, sometimes they say, I don't even know why. And it's like, well, it's so we know that you're crying, we know you're sobbing, we know there's depression, we know there's something going on. So now we need to figure out, what are the things that we can change, or what are the directions we can go in, or what are the things that we can do to look at those things, and even, coming up with a system. We don't, a lot of times when I do one-on-one sessions with people, and you do one-on-one sessions as well, one of the things that I find, and one of the things you probably, I've never actually talked to you about this, but we probably would find this to be similar, is that a lot of times people don't have systems in place to be able to identify what's actually going on. They just know how to identify the pain, but they don't necessarily know what causes pain type stuff.
Exactly. I think a lot of people um, like a lot of people take their own pain for granted. There are signs and symptoms that they just take for granted. They don't have the time to focus in on what they need. They've been living with the pain for so long that it's kind of become something they've learned to manage and just deal with, instead of manage in terms of living with it, and deal with in terms of just walking around with the pain as if it were something normal. Sometimes pain is an indication of healing, but oftentimes pain is an indication that there is an issue, there was an issue, or there will be an issue coming. Sometimes, the pain is just to warn you that, okay, this organ is, it's having a tough time. So, um, you may want to, you might start feeling like soreness in the back of your calves, and that's, indication that your lymph nodes are backing up, and you have excess toxins in your body. Like you'll have like excess tenderness, like you'll feel tenderness, like on the back of your leg, you feel tenderness in your body in different places. That tenderness, um, even if you take your hand and you start massaging it, and say you feel tenderness uh, in different areas, like say you feel tenderness in your thumb, that could be an indication that there are toxins building up, and that's why you're having those headaches. And that's why if you massage your thumb with your two your pointer and your index and so if you take your right hand and you massage um, your left hand, um, the thumb on your left hand with your index and your thumb, just squeezing it and rubbing and giving it, that you'll realize that that tension from that headache will go away. It's just toxins
Mm.
that are built up, and you can do it on the opposite side of your body. So if you're having a headache on the right side, you massage your right thumb. If you're having a headache on the left side, massage the left thumb. Different. You know, Again, like our body is made up of different meridians that have to do with the nervous system connection. Our neurons connect the different parts of our body. So you may be feeling something in one part of your body that's an indication of a problem that is there or developing, about to develop there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, amen. Oh, these are code breakers, amen. Yeah, these, and this is stuff that we need to talk about, a lot more once again in being whole or being holy, and what are some things, even as is like, how does food enter into that equation? Like, I know we're talking about the effects of the food more so, but I mean, how does food enter? And is there any way we can think about, what's coming in the body that we should make sure that we're being better stewards over? I mean, I know that could be a very generalized question. I don't know how specific that is. Isn't it?
I mean, food is everything, um, and depending on your specific body composition, one food that's okay for one, like say an AB blood type, or a person who tends to be, so in Ayurveda, they talk about the different body constitution. So the way your body's made up. So you have, the Vata, which is the tall and slender, kind of airy personality person. You have the Pitta, the fiery personality who's more muscular and tends to have digestional issues. And you have the Kapha, who's the thicker, more robust or rotund type person, who's a little rounder and a little bit has, you consider them being kind of a wet kind of person. They have a wet um, constitution where they have more mucus and things like that. They tend to be more jovial. So someone who is like, say, AB blood type may tend to be more of a Vata type constitution, somebody who can eat the rice and the carbs and different things like that. Someone who tends to be more of, um, say, a combination of like Pitta Kapha. They're more muscular, but they tend to put on weight quickly, so they tend to have excess Kapha. So they're muscular, but they tend to put on fat easily. They may be an O blood type, and they may need to focus more on amino acids and proteins. Proteins are made up of amino acids. We all need them. We all need the essential 20 amino acids, but some people need to get their proteins from carbs and beans and things like that, like more of the AB blood type. And then the O blood type may want to, kind of stay away from excess carbohydrates, because it tends to cause them um, sugar issues and excess fat to accumulate very quickly.
Yeah, yeah, that's very important. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so yeah, eating for your blood type, extremely
Mm-hmm.
important, things like that. So when we eat these things, it's a connection point where we have the connection of, hey, I'm feeling pain here. Well, could you be feeling pain here because you have something going on in the kidney, or
Mm-hmm.
things like that, and then because you have something going on in the kidney, therefore now you had a situation where it's actually because of something that you're eating or lack of nutrients, or something you're not eating,
Mm-hmm.
and so therefore we have a lot of different things that are going on that are connection in the same thing, even in the spirit. Like if we're eating things that are bad for our spirit, then even if something, we could it causes gross negligence in specific areas of our life. And so here we are, talking about I have pain in this area, not realizing that it's actually referred pain. And if you even think about like a referral, when you have something, a referral is telling you what? It's telling you that like somebody else is vouching for this. And so like a pain that you might be having, you might be trying to apply something else and saying that that's that type of pain. But the reality is that you could actually be having something that referred, like something else in your life is actually referring the pain. It's actually like saying, I vouch for this pain. If you could figure out what's vouching for the pain in your life, you could find out what you've been feeding that area that's vouching for the pain, so to speak. And it's a very interesting way. Ever since I heard you talking about referred pain, it's a very interesting thing for me to think about, because I never really think about referred pain. You never think, like one example you were talking about that I heard you saying was, if you got an issue in your back or whatever, maybe you can't massage your own back like you'd like to, but you can massage your abdomen area. And when
Mm-hmm.
you massage the abdominal area, once you massage the abdominal area, it actually can help with the pain in the back, because the two are connected. We don't think about the connection point in between where we're actually. So that even adds a fourth element, right? Because now I could be receiving or eating something that's messing with me in an area of life. I don't really do anything in that area of life, though, or at least I don't pay attention to that area of life. And since it hasn't been paid attention to, what I've been feeding myself has now messed up that area, but that area has referred the pain somewhere else. And now, even though that pain is referred somewhere else, even if I can't figure out the area yet, if I can find what's connected, those connection points to the other part of the body, I can now actually start to massage those things. I can actually start. So even if I don't know exactly where it's coming from, if I still can know the connectivity of the body, so to speak, physical, spiritually, psychologically, etc., I can actually begin to make
Exactly.
moves and cause healing.
You can make the appropriate action, because like if you have pain and say your hip, and you're massaging your hip, chances are, if that pain did not originate in the hip, if that pain is in your lower abdomen, then you can massage your hip all day long, but it's not going to make that pain go away, because that's not where it's coming from. So applying the proper focus to the proper area is the only way to fix things.
Mm. I like that, applying the proper focus to the proper area. And that's big, that's huge, and that's even, once again, not just only physical but spiritual as well, right? Applying proper focus to the area we were talking about today. And we were talking about the importance of code, and importing something, literally, like there's a port, importing. Whenever we have something, whenever we walk into a room, we bring things in with us. So if we invite people into our lives, we import certain things with those people. If we invite anger into our lives, that imports certain things. Don't for every choice there's an invoice. So if you choose to bring anger into your life, just remember that you've choose to bring everything that comes on that ship. And that ship could come with broken relationships. It could come with DNA memories that you don't want. It could come with generational curses. It could come with murderous rage. It can come with all types of stuff.
Yeah, that's it. And the murderous rage is not the issue. The murder is not the issue. The issue was that person's their inability to control themselves. Their you know not being able to handle their emotions was the root of the issue.
Yeah. And we oftentimes talk about the tree, we never talk about the root. We oftentimes talk about the house, we never talk about the foundation. We oftentimes talk about we oftentimes talk about the mucus buildup, but we don't talk about what are we eating that causes the body to say, oh, I must build up mucus.
Yeah.
There's a lot of different things that.
I'm sorry. And when people are in pain, a lot of times they'll make permanent decisions for temporary problems. So it may be something, temporary, like you said, in their life, where they're dealing with the anger, they're dealing with the frustration. They go out and do something that they can't take back. And so there's a permanent, they made a permanent decision, but it was a temporary problem. They might not have had a job, but, they decided
to rob
a bank. And now, now they're going to have to face the consequences for something that could have been temporary, because I don't want to say a lack of faith, but, it could have been a temporary, or someone who decides to end their life.
Mm-hmm.
That's a permanent solution to a temporary problem. No matter how bad it seems, it's more than likely not as bad as we make it seem. A lot of times we will roll things around in our head and make and build this mountain out of something that probably will never occur. Like, I can't tell you the amount of horrendous situations I have lived through that I've never experienced. Like, that I have made up in my head, and I have worked through the scenario. And then when I come back to and everything is settled and everything is normal, I'm like, oh, okay, well, that really wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be.
Yeah. Yeah. Somebody said, just like Minister Shanti said, just like working out, most trainers will work mirroring muscles. Example, bis and tris, back and chest, front and back. Yeah, because also too, if you only focus too much, and that sometimes is even what causes depression. Depression sometimes is a buildup of basically, like, even people who become clinically depressed. You'll have somebody who's built up only one thought, only one part of the brain, only certain things that only react to this, because your focus is only on the negative. So you can, and I've been somebody who, just for transparency's sake, I've been somebody who's been labeled as clinically depressed. And what happens is you get to a place to where, because you think about it, right, because you think about it in that way, in that manner, and you're just thinking it's always negative, nothing's going to happen, woe is me. But if you can learn how to hang on to positive, even in negative situations, you can make it through. I was going to say just about anything. You can make it through anything. There's people who have, they say, wow, that person got shot this many times. How did they make it through? And the person literally just, if nothing else, thought, I'm going to survive. I'm going to survive. I'm going to go through that. I'm sorry. I'm going to make it through. That's nice, but Suicide, Wisdom of Solomon, Suicide and Wisdom of Solomon 112, seek not death in the era of your life, and pull not upon yourselves destruction with the works of your hands.
I never knew that verse existed.
Yeah, seek not death, and that's very powerful, because seek not death. And not just seek not death, but then what's the next part say? In the era of your life. So what happens with a lot of people is, when errors are made, I made a mistake. Oh, wow. And then what do you start doing? Well, since I made a mistake, well, this is definitely going to happen. And then if this happens, then this is going to happen. And if this happens, well, it's only a matter of time before this. And before, like you said, we played out this scenario, I have this reoccurring dream. I won't go into it now, but I told you about where I still think I'm in the military. And so it's like, it's always negative. It's always, this happened because of something negative that happened in my experience. So I wake up at the end of it each time, almost like, where am I? And it's like, oh yeah, I was like, I thought I've been done with the military for years. Why am I, I don't even look like I'm in the military, but in my mind, I still go back, because I still have this, there's a referred pain. There's something that's like, it doesn't show up, but like when I'm asleep, but there's obviously something else going on there, where it's basically something else that's going, right? So, but if I'm not careful, that dream literally just goes on and on and on to something else, and it takes different directions sometimes each time, but it always starts in the same place, where I have this issue where something is obviously not done in that area of eternity, or what we would call time. Even though it's past, it's still hanging around. And so there's a lot of different things like that, where a lot of us, we seek death because of errors. Oh man, we even talk negatively, if we're not careful. You'll hear people say stuff like, oh, they're going to kill me. It's like, well, we literally are seeking death. Like, oh, if my mom finds out that I did that, she'll never talk to me again. And that's your mom. Like, oh, if my dad and I ever talk about this one issue that I had, I've never talked to him about it. But if we talk about it, I know he's gonna cut me off. Well, he may be mad, but if you needed help, like, he'd be the first person. But we, in our minds, we go to this place of, oh, like, everything must die.
Yeah, that's a great point. I was going right there, going right where you're saying with the negative speaking, like, even the verse for me, like, I have to decode it because it says, seek not death. And I'm like, why would you seek not death? Why wouldn't you seek life? And I think a lot of people, with their own thoughts and then words and then deeds, because everything starts, all of our actions start with an idea, with a thought. And we can sometimes be very negative with our speaking. Instead of speaking about what we actually want, we tell people what we don't want, we don't like. And guess what? It's very hard to decode for somebody what you don't want and what you don't like. It's a lot easier for you to figure out what it is you do want and that you do like, and then speak on those things. Because a lot of times people may be like almost like a self-fulfilling prophecy. People are just giving you what you kind of asked for. Like, don't get on my nerves. Don't kill my vibe. Don't. What's another thing that people tell people not to do?
I mean, well, this is really old. It's weird that this popped in my head. This is really, really old. But people say stuff like, "Don't tread on me."
Yeah.
Or like, I'm not a doormat. Or or just some people outright, like, you don't love me. You don't respect me. You don't give me. You've never done. Like, we all do that when we get upset.
Yeah, it's hyperbole. It's an exaggeration, because if someone didn't love you, you would not be sitting there telling them that they didn't love you, because they wouldn't care enough to listen to you about you not living, and you wouldn't think to tell them.
Yeah, these self-fulfilling prophecies. Sister Betty even said in the comment section that it's that her therapist said it was helplessness mentality, to where, like, I can't, and really that's the key in there, because even your faith comes out of your hope. Now, it's Hebrews 11:1, for those who don't know, but now faith is the substance of things hoped for and the evidence of things not seen. Your hope is what your faith comes out of, and the manifestation comes out of your faith. So your works come out of your faith, or go hand in hand with your faith, causing manifestation. And your hope is what tells was the reason why you will do your works, and the reason why you have faith in what you have faith in. And when we've gone to what is described as this helplessness mentality, yeah, like, I don't think anybody can help, including I can't help myself. And if we're not careful, including the Most High can't help. And then once you get to that point, what can anybody do? That's something I've had to learn how to forgive myself for, even though I didn't do anything. But I've had to learn how to forgive myself for, because you try to help people and you're not going to be 100%, because at the end of the day, people have to make steps for themselves as well.
Exactly.
And so they're trying to refer to pain. If not careful, the referred pain becomes your pain, and somebody else is really the cause of it. And so sometimes you have to remember that, like, I've given 100. I've taken time out. I've spent nights up. My wife will be here to tell you, I've even gotten my family mad at me because I'm giving somebody else all this time, and the person still will, because of where they are in life. And I'm not even saying they're a bad person, because where they are in life, they're depressed, they dealing with this, they can't see themselves past a certain situation. And you've got to be able to release yourself from the pain of referred pain sometimes, because you're so busy dealing with somebody. Love the person where they are, but also have boundaries for yourself that says that I will not allow myself to take on that pain. I'll allow myself to be empathetic. And this is something that they even talk about a lot, when the whole craze of empaths and stuff now, where, and I'm not saying craze, maybe that's a bad way, but it's in style for everybody to talk about being empathetic, even if they're not.
Awareness have shifted to understand that there are people who are more empathetic than others,
right?
And people who do allow that pain to be projected on themselves are realizing what it is that they have been taken on their whole life, but now they have a term for it. There's some people that can take on those projections and literally take the pain for somebody else. I've heard on several occasions where a mother will be feeling labor pains for her daughter, and the daughter will be like, "Oh yeah, my delivery was so nice, it was smooth." and the mother is sitting there clenching and grabbing things, and you know, and like you said, we do have to have empathy for the person that's going through the pain, because they're looking for any type of means out, and it's not necessarily a personal attack on you per se. It's just they're looking for a means of release, and so they may come to you for advice, and kind of put the responsibility on you because they have referred pain and they're referring the pain to you. Then, you know, you tell them what to do, they make that decision, and then instead of them taking responsibility for their actions, they're gonna say, refer to this person who gave me the advice. The issue was with me, but I'm gonna put it on you because I didn't take responsibility for my actions in the past, and I still don't intend on doing it now. Maybe I'm not doing it on purpose, but it's not your fault for giving me the advice and me taking it and it not working out right. And for the most part, when people take advice, they don't follow it real well. They'll they'll do what they want to do, and then they'll say, "Oh yeah, I did this little piece that you told me to do."
Yeah, and that's why I was even going to say that. So we have to. But we have a place that we can go as far as somebody who can take on referred pain, and that person is Yahweh, that person is Yashua, through the Vakakodash. We don't have to let it just stay with us. We can lay those burdens, if you will, at the altar, and we can so we don't have to. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
Yeah, you were saying.
No, I was looking at Dawn's comment, and it's great. Boundaries are a part of my self-care.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm a big believer in boundaries.
Yeah, I was gonna say
and
that.
Because a lot of people will say, "Why is this going on?" and this person and nobody's doing this and blah blah. And whenever I hear it, the first thing I start listening for, I never hear, "I told so and so this is what they can't do," or I'll hear people say, "I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to do this anymore. I'm not going to do that anymore," and I just stop listening. I tune it out because after a while, it's like, I know you're going to do it again because you've been doing the same thing for 30 years. And now you're saying in the 31st year, you're not going to do it. It's like, at some point, you got to show me,
And at some point, you got to take responsibility too. Like if you keep lending somebody money and they've never paid you back, they've never made a move to pay you back, and they come and ask for more, at some point you have to take responsibility for your actions and lending somebody that and just stop lending it to them. Give it to them, gift it to them, because they're not going to pay you back. So don't hold that resentment with you over something they're doing.
Right, because we shouldn't. And yeah, I see what you said, Minister Shante. And it's extremely important that we talk about those things. But also too, like, yeah, you can carry something for somebody for years, but even sometimes we have to get to a place where it's like, no matter what we want to call ourselves, empath, whatever the terminology we're going to use, don't forget, empath, that to be empathetic doesn't mean that you have to hold on to it. And I think that's the part we forget, because once again, referred pain, we don't know where it came from. So sometimes we don't even know where it came from. And then years later, we realize, why am I crying about this situation more than somebody else? But at the same time, through it all, even in referred pain, if you know the connectivity, if you know that I can rub the abdomen to do this for the back, to take care of the back pain, but also I can also depend on the Most High and lay my burdens upon him. He says his yoke is easy. It's easy for him to carry what I can't carry. That's why he died for all. I didn't die for all. And that's one of the things I've had to free myself from, and you hear me say it a lot, is that I'm not a savior and I'm not here to save the world. And when you realize that, it helps you. Like, that's why I mention things. A lot of people think I'm only mentioning for you all, but sometimes I mention it for myself as well. Like, I have to remind myself, like, I can't save everybody. I'm not here. Like, this Bible is not for everybody. This walk is not for everybody. And it actually helps me to sleep better, to know, oh, okay, yeah, 75 people came on and they had to get muted or blocked today or cussed out, or they were trying to cuss us out, and therefore they had to be released. And then all these people literally show up on videos and show up and stuff over and over again, where your people blocked me, and why people block, or you blocked me, you're afraid to say this and blah blah. I have to remind myself, like, you know what, I said what I said. It's not of myself even. And so the pain, if I'm not careful, I know where to, or how do I say this? I know where what the issue is. They're looking at the symptom. They think that they're mad because of what I said, but I didn't originate I'm not the source of of their pain, so to speak, or the source of the word. The source of the word was the Most High. So if the Most High said, say this, and so I said it, and they think that it's referred to them, they don't know it's referred yet because they don't know the culture. They don't know how the system works together. And all these systems, they don't know how their body goes together. So therefore they're thinking it's me. But the reality is the pain you're feeling is because I spoke something, sure, here, but it actually came from the Most High, who's trying to help you in your life so you can become part of the body, that we can all flow together. So if that's the case, I have to make sure that I realize that I need to give knowledge or honor to the source. I have to go, hey, this is the source of your issue. The issue is not with me. The issue is with the Most High. And if you realize the Most High is saying it, then you realize that that's the issue. So if you're attacking me, you're attacking the body, because the Most High is the head, And so, but those are things that
Yeah.
sorry.
Okay.
No. I was just going to say, in a few minutes, we'll take time to open up the lines for those who would like to call in. But thank you guys for being on. We appreciate you. Thanks for joining us on the Kofi 40 podcast here at SOC, and for our Shabbat Shalom service here with my wife, the Honorable Maya. And thank you for your comments that have been coming in. But you had something else?
Well, to the point of boundaries, a lot of us who have issues with boundaries, sometimes we sacrifice our well-being and our wants and needs for those of others, as the saying their wants and needs are more worthwhile than mine. But you have to stop and ask yourself, you know what does this do to me? How does this affect me? Is this something that I really want to do? Is this something, because it's not really honorable to be the sacrificial lamb, because we're not the sacrificial lamb. We can't be that for anyone, and it's really disingenuous, because just because we may carry something in silence doesn't mean the other person can't feel the hostility or aggression behind our so-called sacred act. A lot of times we may carry with us hurt and pain and resentment, and we think that people can't feel it just because we don't say it, or we think that it's not emanating from our bodies just because we put on a smile for them, but really it's not genuine, and it's basically a lie, that we think we're saving someone, but really we're hurting ourselves and we're hurting the other person by continuing to hold on to something that really doesn't belong to us, and we really can't even handle.
And it causes us to hold on to relationships that, even, and I'm not saying you should get rid of family or anything, but sometimes there's seasons for stuff, but we're trying to hold on, and we legit like, oh, well, this person's texting me, I'll answer the text because this is my uncle, or this is my niece, or my nephew, or this is my brother, or whatever. And it's like, no, if your brother's acting wild, like, my brother might have to. I'm not saying this has happened, but I'm just saying, if my brother wild out and it's starting to affect my life, especially with my family, and now I'm taking out stuff on my children or something like that, guess what? Like, love you, bro, but you need to get that together. If an emergency arises, you know how to contact me, obviously, because you keep blowing up my phone. But I'm not going to, like, if I don't need to listen to your messages, right? Like, we're so busy, I got to listen to every message and do this or whatever. We missed that. By the way, somebody had asked a while ago, and I didn't know how to bring it in, but if hopefully that person's still listening. Do you know anything as far as how RHA negative blood type might affect something? I know blood type is kind of in and of itself a
So
different
RH
conversation.
factor, everybody has an RH factor. So um, the RH factor tells whether or not you're compatible. Um, like AB is the blood type, and negative um, would be like a part of the RH factors. Just means what kind of solutes, what kind of particles are in your blood that may or may not uh, jive well with somebody else's blood. So AB can receive O blood, but O blood can't receive AB blood. So O positive is a universal donor. AB negative is the I'm sorry, AB negative can donate blood to different people, but they can't receive any blood. AB positive can receive everybody's blood, but can't really donate blood. And then A and B can't really, have to donate to each other. So someone who has A blood type has to donate to A blood type. Someone who has B blood type has to donate to B blood type. But somebody who has O positive blood type can donate to anyone.
Can donate to A and B.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then AB negative can donate to everyone, I believe.
Okay. Amen. I didn't really know all that. Okay, cool. We had another question that we missed earlier. What does it mean when you're late to everything?
It's a mental and spiritual issue. Sometimes it's about trying to do too much, and sometimes it's about not having a proper respect for other people's lives and their time, and not realizing what the significance is of maybe you being late. What do you think?
I talk about it in just a second. Okay, Sister Deborah, we see you going, and we say a quick prayer, and then we'll keep on going. Heavenly Father, we thank you. We appreciate Sister Deborah and her life. Be with her and her family as they're going through issues, and allow her to be able to make sure that she stands strong in what you called her to be, and that whatever referred pain that they try to refer upon her, that she be able to make sure that that pain is referred upon you, for you are the one who is the source of all comfort and in control of everything. We thank you, and we touch and agree in Yahweh's name. Amen. So as far as being late, it's habits a lot of times. It's habits. There are things that even go into eating. Believe it or not, there are things that can kind of cause us to be late. If you're lethargic, a lot of times it could be because you're eating very heavy foods. If you're going through a lot of issues, of course, it's our pleasure. If you're going through a lot of frustration and not dealing with it, but even spiritually, what you eat, some of us, and sometimes it might be along the lines of procrastination, but procrastination a lot of times is just because we feel like we're doing something we're not called to, or maybe we don't know how to deal with this calling. So sometimes it comes to being a perfectionist, but sometimes if you're always late, a lot of times it's just a habitual thing, if something for something to change as far as a habit or to become a habit. The argument used to be 4 weeks. We kind of rushed with the 3 weeks thing. The 21 days of motivation, for example, for those who have a copy of that, and that's 3 weeks. So 21 days of trying to reaffirm habit. It takes a while, and so the easiest way to get out of being late usually is going to be, hey, I'm just going to do it no matter what. I'm going to be on time no matter what. And that's the first start to it. That's really obedience. Once again, obedience is better than sacrifice. Sacrifice is I'll do it once. Obedience is I'll do it over and over and over again. So there can be many different reasons. Sometimes you might, like some people who are depressed. I'm not trying to speak anything over anybody, but some people who go through depression, are legit, like it's hard for them to get out of bed, let alone to be on time for anything or want to do anything. So you could be dealing with some inner issues that cause that to be going on.
Yeah, I was gonna say depression could cause someone to move slowly. Someone who I think it's like a matter of focus and priorities, like it, and sometimes like the will to do something. Sometimes people don't necessarily want to do something, so it may cause them to be late to that thing, or kind of like you said, procrastinate, or move slower than they would if they were excited. Like, say someone said, I'm going to give you $1 million if you're here at 3 p.m. You wouldn't get there at 3 p.m. You would arrive, at, you might spend the night there, or you might get there at 1 p.m. or at 2 p.m. just to make sure that you're there at 3 p.m. I mean, if $1 million, probably be there way before 1 p.m. But you get my point. Like, you're going to make it a priority if it's something that's very important to you.
Amen. So, but thank you guys for listening today about referred pain. We got to get ready to take our leave in a little bit so we can make sure that we finish up the watch parties we've been doing with this particular thing. And y'all also let us know if you like the whole watch party thing that we've been doing. We'll find some different stuff. We definitely probably want to do some stuff for children down the road that they can do as well and watch as well. But we're going to try and make sure we're on time for that. However, before we take our leave now so we can be on time for SOC meeting at 11 a.m. so we can watch the rest and just start discussing it. Anybody who'd like to call in, now is your time. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns as we get ready to take our leave, thank you so much. So it looks like we have Minister Sonia on. Thank you for being on the Kofi Ofori podcast for a Shabbat Shalom service. Anything you'd like to be able to say?
Goes into knowing our bodies. Y'all made us amazing beings and how we all work together. And as Elder Maya was talking about the referring pain, we also have this thing called trigger points. And so sometimes I always think about my ex-brother-in-law when he used to go to the doctors for his foot, his ankle. But when he went to, he found a good doctor and he found it when they worked something around the neck or the shoulder, it began to help the ankle foot area. So sometimes, like we were discussing today with referral pain, sometimes with trigger point massage, you can massage another area and you will feel it in a different place. Like I can go get a pedicure and if they're doing a foot massage, around the toe area, I can feel the certain nerve somewhere else in the body. So it's good to know our bodies. It's good to go if we're getting medical attention to have those type of notes that, I'm feeling it here, but I'm feeling sick here. And it kind of give the medical person or the holistic healer a help in determining what the matter may be. And kind of off topic, but I heard something that's rising through this doctor. He said silence is an abuse. And I heard someone, I don't know if the pastor said or someone in the chat, talk about, silence was something and boundaries and different things. And so sometimes we want to just, step away and be quiet and we're not talking to our significant other or our siblings or who it may be. That silence is a form of abuse. So it's better to internalize and get to the resolution and the revelation of the thing so that silence don't become deadly to you or to another person. So this all, I love holistic, I love healing, and I love growth. Just take it, for its worth and take it what you've heard and, build upon it. And maybe even if you have to seek, your medical professionals or your healer for more information. But I just wanted to tap into referral pain and trigger point massage. Because sometimes you may have, as I say, something in your lower extremities and something in your upper could be the cause.
Absolutely. Thank you for that, Minister Sonia. Oh, absolutely. Thank you for that, Minister Sonia. And that's why, massage is like, can be so therapeutic, whereas, a medicine may not ever help what's going on. If someone's, just, especially if they're just medicating you for pain, it's never going to fix the situation. And massage can get those fluids going, can get that lymph going, can get those toxins flowing out of the body to kind of relieve some of the issues of pain, because pain is caused by either stagnation, so like fluid building up, so there's pressure, or there's an infection, there's a pathogen involved. So massage could be like a first line of defense for someone who is experiencing pain, because just because that's why it's like a full body massage is so therapeutic and healing, because you may be feeling pain somewhere, but then you get a massage everywhere and you realize, oh, I didn't realize I was sore here or I was sore there. I thought I just had lower back pain. I didn't realize I had pain in my abdomen. I didn't realize that that I was even sore there until you started to massage me. And then herbs help move those toxins out of you and build those organs back up after they've been so swollen or full of toxins.
Yeah, great stuff. And remembering, that even when you deal with that stuff as well, just removing toxins, we talk about toxic people all the time, but even, if something happens to shake up the body, so to speak, to show you who toxic people are, then you still have to go through a process of like, removing them and then and we talk about that all the time when we talk about the word deliverance. We always talk about, to be delivered, you've got to put something back in place. So if you're going to get rid of toxins or even toxic people or toxic environments or whatever it is we want to talk about, you got to replace it with something holy or whole or holistic or healing. If it's not going to heal your spirit. So if you're going to get rid of bad spirits, people say all the time, I'm getting rid of bad spirit, I'm getting rid of bad energy. It's like, okay, you can get rid of bad spirits, you can get rid of bad energy. At the same time, though, while you're getting rid of bad spirits, bad energy, what's the positive energy? What's the positive spirit? What's the positive words? I'm going to stop cursing. Okay, but you're going to go back to cursing eventually if you don't have anything, or you're actually going to deal with tough times because the only thing that your body had last in that area to give, instead of nutrients that would help it, you had toxins, you had cursing and stuff. So now you don't replace your vocabulary. You have that old tongue and you got rid of the old tongue, but you have no new tongue. So if you don't have a tongue, you can't speak. Yeah. So here you are, like, I won't educate myself to fill myself with something else to be able to speak. Now I'm speechless.
You have to create a new habit.
Yeah, you got to create a new habit. So, if you're going to function different, you're an alcoholic, like, it's great to say, okay, we're proud of you. You're not stuck on alcohol like you used to be, no problem. But guess what? That's why they have all these different things in the AA programs and stuff. And some people go, oh, they're so addicted to the AA program, they should be able to do this and that and blah, blah. Like, why do they need to keep going back? But they're going there because at least there's a new habit. And they cling to the habit so much because the habit helped them to heal and to be whole. So, but it is the hour is getting late, and we've got to transition to our SOC meeting so we can start the watch party and then have a little discussion as far as all the stuff we've been watching for a while. So, and unless there's any more call-ins or any questions, comments, or concerns, we're going to get ready to take our leave. So we appreciate it. Oh, okay. Well, one question we missed. Okay, what kind of pain can be caused if you don't grieve? Well, not grieving, so you can be dealing with stress. Stress deals with anxiety. Anxiety deals with all types of stuff in the problem, including stress, period, by itself. And I know we have the herbalist here, but I get excited to talk about this because she actually taught this in class recently, and I opened up my mind to where your body can't really do more than one thing at a time, as far as like your systems are concerned. So when it comes to stress, if I don't deal with stress, then your body doesn't know the difference between a bear's chasing you, or you can't pay a bill, or somebody made you upset, or whatever. Like, your body's just like up, like, and so you won't digest food. Your digestion system actually will shut down. So some people are like, I can't use the bathroom anymore. Well, you might be stressed. Like, well, the doctors didn't even say that. Well, yeah, they're not thinking about it, but literally you can be so stressed out that your body says, I won't digest food.
Well, just imagine, like, if you have a balloon and you keep blowing that balloon up and you never let it have any release and you just keep blowing it, eventually it's going to pop because there's no release. There's no dealing with the tension or the pain. And there's only so far someone can be stretched. There's only so much trauma someone can take. And that's why often when someone passes and someone has a broken heart about it, they'll pass soon after, whether they were healthy to start with or whether they seemingly there was nothing wrong with them. People die from a broken heart. When people bottle up their emotions, those emotions have to go somewhere, and they're going to become either a tumor or benign or some type of cancerous growth somewhere in the body, because that energy has to flow. It's either going to stagnate and cause an issue, or it's going to flow and have a release.
And that's why even things like exercise, going for walks, being in the sun. I mean, heck, if you have to, if you're embarrassed by it, go somewhere nobody can hear you do it. But if you have to, yell. Like, I wouldn't say that's the first place I'd go, but I mean, if you need to, yell, like, because sometimes you don't want to yell at the person. Fine, yell before you talk to the person. Like, yell. Like, there's times like I'll yell. I'll go in a room, I'm yelling, even if I'm praying. Sometimes I'm praying to the Most High. Once again, like, I'm gonna take it off me. I can't handle it. So but yeah, I'm yelling. I'm being honest. I'm emoting. hey, like, why am I going to? I didn't do this. This is your, this dude did me wrong, but he say he believes in what I believe, and this is your child. Y'all like, you got it, and I be yelling, like, because I need to get it off me. I can't. Because if I don't get it off me, it'll pop up. All of a sudden, I'm talking to somebody on the phone, one of you all, and we're talking about stuff that's healing and holy. And then all of a sudden you say something, and once again, that trigger point, something triggers me. And next thing you know, I'm yelling at you, and you're like, why was he yelling at me? Or why did he do that? Why in the live did he do blah, blah? And if I'm not careful, right? Because we're always on display, and we're always examples, and we're family, and we should make sure that we can do those things. So like was said earlier, like, don't keep those things to yourself, or don't hold on to stuff. Sometimes you're holding on to relationships or things, and you're not getting those items out.
So another way to deal with emotional pain is to put your body in motion. Like start moving, like take a walk. If you can, go running, go swimming, do something go dancing, put your body in motion to get things moving.
Amen. Amen. So we could keep on going and going and going. Yeah, some people take up boxing, they release stress, most definitely. So we can keep on going, obviously, but we're going to be back next Saturday. So you guys might have to be patient with this, but feel free. I don't even know. I'm just kind of thinking on top of my head. I'm not saying we're going to do this because my wife and I haven't talked about next week specifically yet, but who knows? Maybe we can take some of these questions, comments, and concerns that you guys have, and be able to go into it a little deeper. So we thank you all, and we appreciate you. It's 10:59 now, though, so to be obedient, we had to cut it short at this moment in time so we can allow people to start coming into the Zoom link. So it should be a Google Calendar invite that was sent out. I'll try to even put it on Patreon real quick as well. But we thank you all. We appreciate you. We honor the King and Queen, each and every one of you, even if you're not living inside the Kingdom or Queendom yet. We appreciate the potential King Queen, each and every one of you. Please check out my wife, who's joined us and will be with us for the rest of this month for Shabbat Shalom services on here on the Kofi 40 podcast. You can check her out on TikTok, YouTube, her website, and Pinterest at Bloom and Flourish, not A-N-D, the letter N, Bloom and Flourish. She is a healer, herbalist, chemist, and biologist by degree. The tincture of the month, amongst many tinctures that she gives out, and even including if you need her to make a tincture for you. But the tincture of the month of this month is dealing with anxiety release. There you go. So that's the name of it. If you'd like to be able to get more information about it, just contact us. If you're on the podcast, you can just simply look in what's in the description right now, or when it's uploaded, you can look at the description then. If you find us on Patreon or YouTube later on, or even a piece of this that we post somewhere else, you can be able to find it in the description that comes on there as well. So thank you. We appreciate you. We honor you.
Tada, Shabbat Shalom, fam. Thank you so much. Thank you, babe. Really appreciate it. Tada.
Aman. So thank you. I appreciate you, and love you very much. So that being said, thank you again. As always, especially for this month, this has been the Honorable Mind and Pastor Kofi. We are over servants of Christ, where we are always changing lives one mind at a time, but being a voice of the voiceless, speaking the unspoken, until we have the great privilege, opportunity, and responsibility of being in front of you all again. Please remember, as always, that you are loved. You're necessary, you're majestic, you're fearfully and wonderfully made, and you, which is all of us working together, will be the reason why people who are in this system no longer have to be of it. All right. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Barak Allah Cham Yahava. Tada. Shalom. Peace.